Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today, I want to have a look at a plane that I personally did not expect to see its entry in War Thunder anytime soon. The German Ju-288C, practically the successor design-wise to the Ju-88A4, or generally the Ju-88. And then it has some similarities, to which I will come later, with the mighty, beautiful, awesome Heinkel 177A5. And I personally have really a special place in my heart for bombers. There is one problem though, it's premium and it's not very cheap to say the least. But how does it perform? Well, it's very fast. It is very maneuverable. It has two Satans that it can use, a lot of defensive capabilities. It has an air brake, very strong engines. It can climb, it can do literally everything. But under regular, normal circumstances, the impact of a bomber in air RB in particular is not that great. And it doesn't have that massive bomb load of the Heinkel 177. Or some of the British or American or Russian bombers to actually decide the outcome of the game single-handedly with some other bombers, to be honest. But this is where it gets into the intentionally broken, rigged kind of environment of this plane. And this is, it sounds too good to be true, and that's exactly what it is. And I expect this plane to change to a certain degree in the future. Whatever it might be, a bug fix, an official nerf, BR increase, flight model nerf, damage model nerf, the bringing back the bomber cap because currently it's removed, and there you can see what I'm already talking about. Let's now talk about the plane itself. First of all, we just have a little bit of armor here around the pilot seats and the bottom, and nothing in the back, the wings, anything like this. And with the X-ray we can see that we have here three 13mm dual guns, or turrets with two 13mm each, and one 20mm in the back right here, with very good firing arcs. So it's kind of very similar to the Heinkel 177, and sadly no offensive weapons like the Do 217's E series. Then we'll have a look at the engine, and we can see there are the mighty strong Daimler-Benz DB610 24-cylinder inlines, and they have no armor, so they are fragile. The fuel tanks are assigned, like with every fuel tank in the game, that they are self-sealing, and this is actually pretty true. So yeah, the plane is nice, it climbs very well, it's fast, you can escape enemy fighters, you can intentionally hunt enemy fighters if you are very kind of cold-blooded and know what you're doing, and I have some scenes for you later on. And when it comes to the bomb loads, well, you can see we have a lot of 50 kilogram bombs to 8 250 kilogram bombs, only 3 500 kilogram bombs because the bomb bay is relatively small, hence we only just have 2 1000 kilogram bombs. But we can also load 2 SC-1800s, aka the Satan. We have 2 of them, and the Heinkel 177 at the same battle rating also has 2 of them. Now, how big those Satans are, we actually have to look at the British, and if we then go down to the Lancaster Mark III, we can see that it also has 2 4,000-pound bombs with the aerial destruction ratio. The radius of destruction of armored vehicles is 46 meters if you want to use it in tank RB, and the Satans are not that much less, to be honest. If we there look at it, we can see the radius is 34 meters. Yes, it's a bit less, but 34 meters is still a lot. If you drop it in a cap circle, if you drop it on a ridge line where there are some tanks nearby, and especially you can also hull break some nearby potato trucks with the fragmentation radius of over 230 meters, if I remember correctly. So the plane is fast, it's maneuverable, it has strong engines, good defensive capabilities, air brakes, big bombs, and there are many of them now in German teams. And this is actually now a drawback to which I will come later on when I talk about it in the actual gameplay. Now I want to show you some scenes where I trolled a few enemy fighters to see what the plane can do later on. Then I will show you a simple, relatively short gameplay, and then we talk about it as a resume later on. So my presentation of some of the most remarkable scenes that I managed to do is that I actually joined here a dogfight. I was on my way back to the airfield to get some bombs back, but I kind of was bored. To be honest, this happens a lot in this plane. While it might be efficient at getting silver lines and RP with dropping the bombing points, destroying them, and maybe sometimes even destroying entire airfields, the reward is there, but it's boring, repetitive, and not that... Yeah, something is missing, that's what I want to say. And joining here the chase of a Spitfire, I mean, this guy is thinking, what the hell, a bomber is hunting me, what is this? You know, this was actually on the first day of the patch, if I'm not mistaken. And look at that performance. Look at that. Look at what the plane can do. It's ridiculous. That's what I want to say. You can loop here and eventually turn with a Spitfire, not giving a damn. And here I was in such a troll mode that my auto gunners actually functioned for this time. And like, this is the sweetest thing that there is. I'm not joking. Obviously I had to pay for it, but I had fun. And it actually increased my income. Next scene here is a duel versus an F4U. And he has the altitude advantage. F4U 7 in particular is a beautiful, remarkably well doing fighter. It's awesome, that's what it is. And look what I do to him. Look what I do to this poor fella. I'm scissoring here with him. He just cannot turn with me. This sounds kind of exaggerating, but this plane, it performs better than some of the German fighters. This is how bad the situation for German fighters is. And then, yeah, defensive fire, 20mm hits home. I'm on fire. Oh no, and so is he. If only I would have the premium status, what would happen? Oh, fire is out. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think it's that time of the year again. And we get the kill. And then a second F4U comes in. And now I didn't have the situational awareness. And before I could correct here anything, he sawed off the heavily damaged wing. And I go down. Next thing here, P-47. Maybe it's just the F4U and the Spitfires. Let's have a look at a P-47M. He again comes in with high altitude advantage. I do a little bit of evasive action, which I recommend for every bomber to do. And the 20mm this time hits home hard. Yeah, I think I let the scene running here because Spitfire is also coming in. It's the legendary, the awesome, premium American Mark 9. Oh no, I'm on fire. If only premium, you know. Ah, thank you very much, Gaijin. You know, it happens with such a regularity. It is disgusting. And he turned away. He didn't want to have anything to do with, you know, the defensive rainbow hail that came his way from the 13mm, which are more there for looking scary rather than being effective, with certain exceptions. And I'm on my way to the base, you know, and there is an F-82 coming in. So here you can see this is what normally your job looks like. You open the bomb bay, you have a good look at the symbol that marks the airfield, and you drop it, and then you want to get the hell out of there. You can see the wing, or the wings are on one side more damaged than the other side, and now I'm just running away. In theory, I could just run home and be done with it. And this is just what look at the speed, you know, that's not even what the plane is capable of doing. Yes, you need to use your war emergency power, and yes, you need to also use manual engine control to only prevent the engines from overheating. That's the only thing that I use in manual engine control. There are experts out there that actually change the ratio of fuel to air and propeller pitching and all these things. For me, it's just, to keep the engine cool. Now here we have actually an initial run on some bombing points from the very beginning to the very end. And let's just have a look at the battle, how it usually turns out. I hope you give me the 4 minutes 45 seconds to prove my point. Look at the speed of the bomber. At a battle rating of 5.3, it outclasses BF-109s, and I'm not even exaggerating. This plane is so good at just flying in a straight line, keeping the speed and climbing with the full bombing load and turning, rolling and defensive firing and extinguishing the fires. I cannot, and I mean I cannot expect this to stay that way for a bit longer. I expect nerfs to come in, but that's not even the peak performance of what you can have with German teams. I drop one bomb and then I already turn in. I'm just under 3,000 meters, or let's say I was, and I'm still gently turning to the side. I could turn harder, but I don't really feel like it. It's getting into the rhythm with the plane, just observing the enemy fighters. Those poor guys have to start from the airfield, and I don't really care about them. Oh look, I just destroyed the bombing point. The income is actually pretty nice. And, oh, there is an F4U. Should I hunt him down? Nah. I just have a bomb left in the bomb bay. And, yeah, some other bombers are already higher. And we're already going for the airfield. So, the communication is already there. And there you could see the problem. Small teams, like 8 versus 8, and half of them are bombers. Yeah, this is how it is late at night. We're already there, we dropped the bomb, and now we want to go home. And there is a pesky tempest. And I'm out of bombs. I wonder what I... No, I don't do this. I don't hunt down a tempest, do I? Oh, he wants to zoom climb me. Not today, sunshine. And I turn into him. The flaps go out to 400 kilometers before they rip. And he turns down, and I happily let him actually get behind me, and then I already have him in my defensive fire aim, and I definitely could better aim, but you can see the spread is also there. We get an enemy kill assist already well, that was actually a triple A. And now we got a critical hit into him. I saw how he moved, so that was actually his rudder gone. Some of the steering being knocked out. Either he tries to go back to the airfield or something else. Meanwhile, I have another friend to play with. Hello, little Spitfire. And he's following a Kia 84. I cannot let this happen. The Tempest went down, kill for me, and I'm hungry for more. So I was capable of getting the footage like in the first few hours, but I thought to myself, do a proper bomber gameplay. But then I realized, well, it's boring. It's just climbing and doing stuff. The action part, this is what the subscribers are interested in, right? So let's hunt here down a Spitfire. And he must be like, what the hell? And already he is followed by a second bomb. He's like, what the hell is going on? Some sparks from the 13mm, we get in a critical hit, and then one of my engines is knocked out, the other one is already orange. Yeah, I kind of asked for it, and we get a kill assist, because the other Ju 288 took him down. Yeah, this is what I love about certain bombers. But I think, if you see it, it performs a bit too well. It's a bit too much, to be honest. And yeah, it had to be a second Spitfire in order to take me down. I try my best here, and he actually distracts me for long enough, and I cannot hit him. And there is the F4U, and then yeah, I'm on fire for the first time, I guess, this time, but I'm so heavily damaged. And the fire is out again. The problem is I overturned and actually drove myself into the ground. Yeah, that was my problem. Now, let's troll some Soviets. So I'm again out of bombs and there is a Yak-9T. Which fool would turn into the flying path of a Yak-9T? A German premium bomber maybe? Yeah, that's kind of it. Wanted to gun him down, but his turning circle was not set up in such a way that I could get guns on him easily. And look, I'm zooming away from him after a turn in a medium bomber. And then a TAR 154 is also coming in, another German premium plane, I want to say. And I get some hits in, but nothing too serious. You should focus on the 20mm. It is the damage dealer. The 13mm, as I pointed out previously, are a bit more for show rather than real performance. Although if you get like 20-30 hits in, they'll do the job eventually, especially with the armor piercing belt. He tries to get some hits in, but the 37 does not connect. I want to get him into a zoom climb. And yeah, my aim is not perfect and I heavily underlead like usual. But the gunner also doesn't follow my orders all that correct. I think the ridiculous spread of defensive gunner fire is a bit too much. It should be different. And so I had to get out of the dive here in order to move around and hopefully get this guy now in a stall. Look at the performance and the turning of this plane. I wish some German fighters could do this. You see what I mean? You really have to play the plane yourself. You really have to go into battle and try this for yourself in order to see what I mean. And again, I expect this to change sooner than later. Again, they open up. Now I go to the defensive gunners. And before I turn around, he already has turned so much that I just produce some nice fireworks. There are definitely people out there that have better capabilities or are better in using their defensive gunners. I usually do not want to rely on them in the first place. This is what I learned in other aircraft. And so this aircraft doesn't really play by the rules. And we get a critical hit in, and for a split second I thought he was on fire. But, you know, he's heavily crippled. He has definitely enough from a medium bomber hunting down the previous Russian bias masterpiece that in the old days the Yak-9T was. So then there is the LA-7 joining the fight as well, and we dodge and weave, and then he also produces a bit of nice firework. Did you hear the stuttering here of the 20mm gunner? Yeah, that's the rather slow rotational speed of the 20mm firing, which is actually remotely controlled, or controlled remotely. Now I'm again on fire by an LA-7. Oh no, if only the fire... Point. Thank you very much for proving my point once again. So, I'm trolling here Russian fighters over their own damn airfield with a medium bomber. Do you see what my problem is? Do you see what I'm talking about? I cannot count too many bombers that can do this and get away with it alive repeatedly. So now I try to trick the Yak-9 into following me, and it is actually a Yak-3P. Out of all the planes, the absolute awesome performing Yak-3P. So I turn around, I pick the trajectory in which I want to go to the defensive gunners, and this time my aim is a little bit better, he's a bit closer, and the 20mm now hits home, critical hit, and another one, and that's a kill. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The gameplay that I want to show you right now is actually us destroying the entire enemy base in one run. Not returning back to the airfield and using the plane's capabilities of landing really fast with, you know, the air brakes extended and the landing flaps, and going out of a dive from 800 kilometers an hour, doing a few loops and landing then, which is also possible. And then, you know, having the air start over the airfield like an Arado, and then climbing over the effective firing range of the enemy AAA over their airfield and finishing off the base. No, this is in one run, and this is why I now have to say that there is definitely something rigged with it. If you look at this, there are so many German bombers in this team. If I then open the tab list, you will see how many there are. There are not just 4 Ju-288s, but also 1 or 2 Heinkel 177s. And if they have the full bomb load, now then we can destroy the enemy base in one run. But also look at this. There are 3 Ju-288s diving for the 3 bombing points. With a regular bomber, I don't expect them to even arrive on the airfield before the enemy fighters at low altitude intercept them. But they can reach such a high speed that the enemy fighters do not even have the reasonable chance of intercepting them effectively, and then avoiding them in the head-on attack is so easy, and then letting them catch up. A bomber that is fleeing and running with over 600, 700, 800 kilometers an hour. No, that's just not realistic before they can drop the payload. But I also expected this, to be honest, them to drop the bombing points and then dying then, because they then have dropped so much speed and altitude that they have not that many options left. And this is why I now decide, okay, probably they will bomb now the bombing points, and then the airfield is open for some German presence. There is a B-29, there are some other bombers. I could try and intercept them, but I want to just have a look at the results if I get in purely the bomb hits on the enemy airfield, which is now open for destruction. The B-24 actually wants to gun me down in a gunnery duel versus actual American 50 cals. No thank you, no thank you, no thank you. The pass, however, I get some hits in, but nothing serious, sadly, other than some beautiful sparks. And I'm on my way to the enemy airfield. Oh, a Spitfire is already at my altitude of over 5,000 meters. And there are a bunch of bombers to my right, and we don't have that many fighters. So this kind of sounds like the recipe for a German allied team syndrome. I avoid here the Spitfire FR with ease, and yeah, before I want to seriously gun him down, I see some other dots on the radar. He avoids, he gets a hit in, and there is now a Spitfire Mark 9. Let's see how he does compared to the FR. So, some nice rainbow messages into his direction, and he says, nah, not worth it. He was actually not capable of matching my speed of over 500 kilometers an hour. While it doesn't look that spectacular, that's very often the problem of a recording. Very often it looks like unspectacular or just, working out as it should work out. But very often you do not see the previous few minutes of putting yourself into the situation. And here, this is kind of the rewarding yet boring part, opening the bomb bay and then pressing the spacebar twice and then turning around. And here are some other bombers, some other Ju-288s, and the enemy fighters are following us. So this guy also has dropped. This guy I expect to actually troll here the enemy fighters a little bit, or if he's a bad player not knowing what he's doing, he actually might succumb to their fire. And the Heinkel 177 has also dropped, and the 3 bombers here also actually went through the AAA. Now my bombs drop, and we have destroyed the enemy base. It shouldn't be like this. And this is why I think it's rigged, because now for the German teams, as far as I can see, the restriction of getting only 4 bombers per team has been lifted. Because again, this is a premium plane. So I make it short, let's have a quick look at the results, because nothing more will happen and I don't want to suffer you through watching the tickets bleed down even longer. So what is the result for pressing the tab, the spacebar twice? Well, 65,000 civilians and 9,000 something RP. just for doing this. No fighters shot down or anything like this. It is a very rewarding plane in this respect. I hope I proved my point here, and I hope you understand this. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this, if you actually use this plane more in tank RB, if you like how it flies, or if it's, in your opinion, just an average bomber. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies of War Thunder. I hope you enjoyed the new outro as well.